Welcome everyone back to Edu-Astro, and we are here with our new series on karmic numbers as promised. We all hope that you have watched our videos on the life path numbers. We have been receiving good feedback, and we are here with the karmic numbers today. So, without delaying any further, let's get on to the interesting topic. We have Renu here with us. Hi, Renu. Welcome once again. And this time we took a pledge that we are going to do the comic numbers in a manner that people don't get scared by, right? That is the most important thing we want to um, propagate. And also, we want people to understand, if required, contact us, that how the comic numbers actually are a blessing in disguise if you understand them well and use them. With that, can we have a background about karmic numbers?
Sure. So, as you said, that we want to start with not scaring people about karmic numbers. So, karmic numbers are actually very interesting, and it's not at all scary numbers for those, and it might be scary numbers for those who don't understand the significance of these numbers in their lives. So, in our previous episodes, as you said, that we have always emphasized on each life path number, explaining the purpose of life path number in our lives, why they are here, and what do they indicate for us to achieve in this life. So, one thing we need to understand is that uh, this is not the only human life or the human birth we have. There are numerous births that we have taken, and in each birth, there is something that we have learned to reach to the elevated states of awareness. And at the same time, each life is given to us to gain knowledge and become wiser as a part of evolution. So, all of us, we go through lots of ups and downs in life, live our happiest moments, and share our deepest sorrows. Though the only thing that remains constant throughout is our experiences, that what we learn from our experiences, and try our best to not go through the same path again. This is how a life cycle works, where you come and go, but in the period between is what you gain the most. And when you have not learned enough, you come back.
Correct. This comeback thing. Let us then put this in a very, very simplistic manner which everybody would understand, right? So we all have gone to school, college, and we had to pass our exams to move on to the next class. Sometimes we had to study harder for subjects which we were not good at. Sometimes it was a cakewalk. But at any given point of time, whosoever is the teacher is, or a school or college is, whichever country, whichever city, most importantly, the exam needed to be passed.
Right.
Nowadays, the scenario is changing. Fine, there are grades rather than percentage marks or anything. But at any given point of time, to move from one level to the other, either of evolution or of studies or of self improvement, you have to go through stages and pass those stages. Till the time you don't pass, you have to repeat those stages.
Right.
So, with this analogy, we can actually put this analogy to work when we are talking about karmic numbers. That whatever in this life we are here for, to learn, if we don't at that correct time, we will be required to do it again in different manners. And if we don't, we will be made to do it, right? As strict
Right.
teachers used to do with us. So, that is all the gist of the karmic numbers. It is not that these numbers are there to ensure that you are always in pain. These numbers are there to evolve you and take you to highest levels, extreme high levels. If you actually do what is required to be done, if you study hard for your exam, you will get your marks and your grades and all that stuff. So it goes in the same way. So
Absolutely.
now, since we have already spoken about the analogy, people would have understood a bit, right? Um, can we have a small view about what could be something called as a karmic debt? Or this term is generally used a lot.
Right. So, when we come back or take rebirth, we are given additional load or burden, I would say, given to rectify the mistakes that we have done in our past lifetime. So that is called a karmic debt. These karmic numbers play an important role, and all the karmic numbers have different features according to which we experience problems or issues in our lives. So there are four karmic debt numbers, that is 13 by 4, 14 by 5, 16 by 7, and 19 by 1. Why we are saying 13
I
by
mean,
4?
I'll just stop you here for a second. You know, this example which you gave, that we are given additional responsibility to
Right.
learn what we have not, and then pass the exam and progress, right? So if I fail in class 10th or my high school, next year I have to study harder.
Yes.
If I again fail, then I have to study much harder. So
Right.
this is the same thing. If people can understand it, it's the same
Right.
analogy, that the lesser you put your efforts at the correct time to complete what is there in front of you,
Right.
you have to do it again, and you will feel it as a burden, because last time you were not interested, this time you might not be interested again. So it's not that you are certainly to face, or somebody is giving you an additional load. Understand it
Right.
in this manner, that you have not taken the load, thus you have to redo it again, and it feels as a burden,
Right.
right?
So it can be taken in two ways. Either consider it as a load or burden, or else consider it as an opportunity for you.
Exactly.
So that you break your old cycles and stop making the same mistakes over and over.
Very true. Very true. Now, coming back to your karmic numbers, 13, 14, 16, 19, 13 by 4, 14 by 5, 16 by 7, and 19 by 1. It's very
Right.
simple, right? 13, 3 plus 1, 4, 13 by 4, 14, 4 plus 1, 5, 14 by 5, 16, 1 plus 6, 7, 16 by 7, 19, 1 plus 9, 10, 10, 1 plus 0, 1. So
Right.
19 by 1.
And
And if you were to look at it, these numbers, the life path numbers, we have already covered, right? 4,
yes.
5, 7, 1. What do they
One.
mean? And
Right.
all these numbers, 4, 5, 7, and 1, they were highly different numbers than the others. This cluster was totally different, right?
Yes.
They
Right.
could go to different levels if they thought about something, or they wanted
Yes.
to do something. The only thing is that when you get a 13 or a 14 or a 16 or a 19 along with that, because of which you get a 4, you might get a
Yes.
4 directly, or you might get a 22 and then 4. Well, 22 is a different factor altogether.
Yes.
But 13, if you get a 13, and because of that, which you are, if you are getting a 4, that means there are a lot of things which you needed to do, which you have not done. And now, not only the 4 is what you are going to do, you are
Right.
also going to cover the last syllabus, or anything which has been left to finish the 13 by 4. Am I correct
Right.
in understanding this?
Absolutely. So when we say 13 by 4, 4 we have already covered in life path number. We have spoken about what are the development areas, what is the focus areas of 4. But when in karmic number, when it comes 13, so there is a impact of two numbers, that is 1 and 3. So that is
Exactly.
what we need to understand, that where we have to do the we have to focus on, and where we are bringing the debt from, which numbers, what are the areas where we have to work on.
So that means a person who has a 13 by 4, obviously we are going to speak about how to calculate the numbers. People will be able to understand, right? But
Yeah.
the point is, anybody who has a 13 by 4 should go and look at the videos of not only 4, but 1 and 3 also.
Yes.
Same goes for 14. Please look at the videos and the audios for 1 and 4 and 5,
Yes.
right? Great. Now let's give an example how to calculate this number. Where How does this come?
So today we are going to take date of birth, that is 23rd March 1985. So the calculation remains the same. We will add up the year first, 1985, which comes out to be 23. we'll further reduce it to 5. Date is 23, we will reduce it again to a single digit, that is 5, plus month is 3, plus 5 again. So when we calculate, it comes down to 13 by 4. So one
5
thing that
plus
has
3, 5 plus 3 plus 5 is 13.
13.
And that 13 also needs to be considered while you add up to a 4, that it is a 13 and a 4, because 13 is a karmic number. Same way, if
Right.
this calculation comes to 14, then 14 by 5. If it comes to 16, 16 by 7, 19, 19 by 1.
Right. So
Correct?
karmic numbers cannot be reduced to a single digit at any point of time.
Right. They cannot be they cannot be reduced and considered only as a single digit. You
Single
have
digit.
to consider the double digit and the sum of that both at the same time. And as we gave the code, right, you have to look at
Right.
1 and 3 and 4 to understand where you come from, what are you bringing, what you need to do.
Right.
Perfect. Now, if we are talking about karmic number and karmic debt, then what do we mean by carrying karmic debt?
So this is very important to understand that why 13 is carrying a karmic debt. So the number 1 in 13 means the person would have carried ego, selfishness, and self-centeredness in his previous past lifetime, in a previous lifetime. 3, person would have involved in trivial and frivolous activities in the past life, because of which the person has to go through the negative aspects of 1 and 3 in this lifetime. So
So
as we said, yeah,
the person would have actually enjoyed and at the
yes,
same time be very proud of what he has not been doing. And thus he needs to understand what is responsibility and what is balance. In this life, when he does all that stuff, he cultivates the number 4 and 13
yeah,
together and then rises in life. Because
right,
if the person has had these qualities, then there would have been some real qualities also that the person
right,
is carrying into this birth. And when he understands the balance of this, those real qualities start enhancing and he rises. It's as simple.
right.
Great.
So,
Then,
especially in 13, when we say there is one more point that the person must have not carried out his share of work, his responsibility, and would have passed it on to some other person. Might be that other person would have been overburdened,
yeah.
right? So, something that they have ignored in their past lifetime. So, what has happened now, it has come as a debt in the form of limitations and restrictions, that in spite of giving their 100%, they still feel that the result, the outcome is not what is expected. So in spite of giving their 100%, still they would not be at a position or at a place where others are.
Obviously, if you would have enjoyed so much, that means your work would have been done by somebody else. That's why you are able to enjoy, right? So all the
Right,
people who are still doing the same thing in this life, they have a high probability of getting into this a 13 by 4 in the next life.
right.
Exactly. Cool. Now, what could be the purpose of their lives?
So, the purpose of their life is to inculcate patience and more tolerance and to accept what they are born with, not to give up in their life, avoid shortcuts, and putting in a more grounded and methodical effort, more strategic way that they have to work on. So, something that they have to learn in this lifetime.
And don't you also think that they should also focus on humility,
Right.
right? Because if it is a 1 and 3 combination, ego would have been extremely high, and in this lifetime also
Absolutely.
they will face the same thing,
Right.
because of which they
So,
would be creating boundaries and all that stuff,
right.
right? Telling people
So,
what to do or not to do.
right. So when we talk about limitations and restrictions, if people have watched our life path number 4, they will understand. the development area, that when we linked it with the
Yeah,
life path number 4, it talks about limitations and restrictions, that
exactly.
they have the capability to reach at the top, but something that they push themselves back because of the limitations and restrictions in their approach.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that is why we said 13 by 4, where they have to focus on.
True. Very true. Very true. So if this is the focus area, right? So what can they do? Small tips if we can give. That will be helpful
Sure.
to our viewers and listeners.
So everyone has to understand that the number 4 possess extreme energy, even more than the numbers 1 and 3. So 4 reflects the inner strength and stability, and at the same time, they have a very focused approach. They are organized and systematic. So if the life path number that is 13 by 4, that is, we are talking about the karmic debt number, they have to create a hub of positive energy in them. Then only they can see the benefits of all the actions that they are doing. They must keep in mind that just putting 100% will not work. They have to put an extra effort and focused commitment to each of their problems. They have to be very disciplined. They need to realize that certain points that we are going to talk about now is the ego part that you said. They need to be very careful when they are speaking. They need to think first and then they should speak. Not being critical and judgmental, that is also part of 1 and 3 when we discuss about it. Use your words to support and uplift people instead of pulling somebody down.
So I
You're
would
also
one point here, like just one line.
sure.
Don't criticize if you can't appreciate.
Absolutely, yes.
Think before you speak. Take a deep breath, and please don't criticize if you can't appreciate. This will help them garner the actual energy of 1 and 3 and 4,
Right.
and they will go to a different level. Continue.
Something that with we talk about karmic debt number, that is 13 or 4, something that they miss out is on the discipline part, and they have to work on it. So throughout their life, when whatever they want to achieve in their life, they have to have a strong sense of discipline. Any kind of negative thoughts and giving up, the attitude of giving up, they have to leave that part. So they should let go of any of the negative thoughts and face every challenge with multiplied courage. If there is a challenge, they have the attitude of giving up, that this is what I have done, this is the limit, after that there is nothing else. So that kind of attitude has to go down.
And if we were to, so these are the like good points which will help them go
Right.
to next levels, right? Now, if we were to look at what are they carrying themselves, which can become a habit very quickly because of
Right.
the fact of 13 coming in, they would have been carrying this from the past lives, right? And it is inherent to them. So, what would be those points or developmental areas which they are naturally carrying and they might not even realize?
Right. So something, when you giving your 100%, right? And there is certain amount of roadblocks that are happening every time when you give your 100%, but there is a roadblock every time. So for the kind of limitations that they experience, they start blaming everyone who are around them, whether it is their family members, whether their employer. They start blaming them for not achieving what they are supposed to. They are pretty intelligent people. They know their work very well. So they don't approach people for help, being bossy, being control freak, something that they have to really work on. They are just not rigid in their thinking, but also the physical activity, they are pretty rigid. They are lazy. They don't want to push themselves to the next level. Um, Putting off responsibilities to others, this is a strict no for them, because this is something that they have brought from their past lifetime,
It's
right?
inherent to them.
Yes, this is something that they have brought. So they have to give up this thing, putting off responsibilities to others, complaining too much. feeling done, as I said, that they have the capability to reach to the next level, but they feel that whatever they have done, it is
This is
enough.
it. This is it. I don't want to do any further. I'm fine.
Right. So
Exactly.
that they have to come out of that limitations.
See, what happens is, these points which we have just mentioned, these are very inherent to this. And they have been doing this since lifetimes or past life or 1, 2 lives or whatever it is. But it is inherent to them. And the constitution of the mind and the neurological construct is like that. So it becomes very difficult for them to actually understand they are doing it consciously.
Right.
They are always doing it in, like, most of the times they will do it unconsciously, and it will
Yeah.
seem right at that point of time. That is what needs to be understood. And
Right.
nature being nature, what happens is these guys are thrown into situations where they start to understand and realize it. If they
Right.
don't, then they will be again thrown into those situations till the time they realize it,
They
because
don't learn. Right.
they don't learn quickly, right? But they have so much potential that they can rise to the greatest heights. And nature wants you to rise to the greatest heights, but before that, you have to pass your classes. That's the reason, if these people, number 13 by 4s, if they can focus on these areas, it becomes very easy for them to, get success in their lives.
Absolutely.
Who are the famous personalities we can speak about?
So this time also we have brought different personality. If we look at the first personality I'm going to talk about is Swami Vivekananda. We know everyone. He's a monk. He's a philosopher. He's an author. So a person like him, so if he has worked on 13 by 4, the kind of heights that he has reached in terms of spirituality, in terms of the intelligence, that if we want to look at this person, he is being praised all over the world. It's just not about India. Everybody
Correct.
knows him,
Correct.
right? So the other examples we can take it from the entertainment industries like A.R. Rahman, Rani Mukherjee, Ajay Devgan. So all of them are 13 by 4. So they know they have struggled. If we look back at their lives from Swami Vivekananda till Ajay Devgan that we have spoken about, they all have gone through their phases of life. And actually their life has been like that. They have learned and they have reached to this level.
Exactly. And the journey has not been easy. To
Right.
reach these great heights, you cannot have an easy journey. But all
Right.
depends upon how much you work on yourself. And if you were to look at it, the karmic relation of numbers, it is more to tell you that the award is there, the reward is there.
Right.
For that, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4 things. If you are not listening, the universe will make you listen somehow or the other. If not in
Right.
this life, then in the next life, you will do it. You will certainly do it. So it's totally up to you when you want,
Right.
right? And you want to put in some special points for our 13 by 4s.
So I would something that at the end of the conclusion that I want to give, or the suggestions we would like to give to life path number 3 is, as I said before, that they need to create a positive hub for themselves, and they're highly energetic number 13 by 4, but as it is considered to be negative, but if you look at the other part of it is highly energetic. They need to remain positive and work accordingly, dedicate their life to paying off their karmic debts and dealing with all the challenges. At any point of time, they should not give up, right? Stop criticizing and accept the life as it is. It would, when you start accepting your challenges as a part of your life, then you will have, the remaining part of your life will be more fortunate and there will be happiness around there.
And now, when we did the life path number 4, which was the planet which was responsible or which associated with 4?
It was Rahu.
Exactly the point.
Yeah.
And we had explained Rahu in that particular episode also, right?
Yeah.
Now, There is one more very important point to understand. Rahu is the natural significator of your ancestors. Natural significator. And because of that, whatever you have done, whatever is your DNA, which whatever you have not learned will be carried out in this
Right.
life with more profoundness. Rahu amplifies.
Right.
It can give you the biggest of the riches and it can take you down to the lowest limit. But
Right.
it amplifies everything in the manner how you learn. So if you
Hmm.
learn it properly, and thus the karmic thing comes because it is coming in. It is the natural
Right.
significator of your ancestors.
Right.
Whatever has happened in your DNA, whatever has happened with you in the past lives, it will come to you in magnified manner, right? If you have done one, then give back two. It's like that. But if you
Yes.
do it, then it will take you to the greatest heights. That is why
Yes.
13 by 4 is one of your strongest combinations, I would say, you can have
Yes.
ever in your life. Because if you have this combination, that means the things you are going to learn is totally out of the world. And these
Right.
people will have very original ways of doing things in a very different manner that nobody
Yeah.
has thought before. They
Right.
have that capability. Rahu
Yes.
has that capability, and it will garner those, capabilities in you. It will also give you a lot of thought process. You want to do
Right.
things differently, you will have all the support. Only that you just need to go ahead and do it. As you
Do
said,
it.
if you pay off your karmic debts properly, work on yourself properly, you can become fortunate and happy. And yes, it is. So
Right.
13 by 4s, please do not get worried if somebody tells you you have a 13 by 4. It is
Right.
not a, what should I say? It is not a curse. It's rather a blessing in disguise. All the karmic numbers are blessing in disguise because these take you to the heights where you can't even imagine.
Absolutely.
Right? Fantastic. So with this, we have concluded one of our karmic numbers. Next week, we'll again be back with another karmic number. And obviously, from a remedial standpoint, if people watch the remedies of 1, 3, and 4, the videos of 1, 3, and 4, they would be able to understand what could be the remedies they can do. But more than the
Right.
remedies, whenever it is a karmic number, you have to go through the process. You have
Right.
to put in that effort. Only then you rise to your heights. Right?
Right.
So it was great, and this was very insightful, Renu. I hope our viewers and listeners they are enthused to that extent, and we will be back again next week with another set of numbers. And you, everybody can contact us and visit our website at any given point of time. Please like, share, subscribe, as we always say. And thank you very much once again, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.